Hi guys, Roman Sliders here, bringing you this classic review of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, a 2D platformer developed and published by Konami and originally released for the Sony PlayStation in 1997. Castlevania was already a staple franchise since the late 80s, but Symphony of the Night brought Castlevania back into the spotlight with its open world level design and massive game world. Unlike previous adventures, which had been linear fares, Symphony of the Night encourages you to explore and revisit Dracula's castle to discover new areas, coining the term Metroidvania due to the emphasis of exploration in the Metroid series. The game is a direct sequel to Castlevania Rondo of Blood, with the player starting the game as Richter Belmont facing Dracula in the final level of the previous game. For the first time in the series, players did not assume the role of a member of the Belmont family, and instead took on the role of Alucard, the half-human, half-vampire son of Dracula, who arrives to discover the secrets of Castlevania and that of his father. Symphony of the Night is a 2D side-scroller where the player must navigate Alucard through the undead-filled castle, and as is series tradition, defeat Dracula. The game adopts an open-world form of gameplay, where initially Alucard can only access certain areas of the castle, but by gaining the 3 forms he can shapeshift into, Alucard can gradually explore the castle. Where the Belmonts use the legendary vampire killer whip as their main weapon, Alucard can use weapons ranging from swords and knives to neutron bombs and javelins. Furthermore, relics can also be found in the castle that provide Alucard with a number of abilities such as the double jump. The castle's librarian also acts as a shopkeeper, where you can buy a number of items like health upgrades. Symphony of the Night incorporates some role-playing elements into gameplay, such as hit points to determine how much damage the player can take, and magic points to show how often Alucard can cast a magic attack, in addition to having several attributes like strength and defense. Defeating monsters provide experience points, where Alucard can level up after reaching a predetermined amount, which increases his attributes as well. Alucard can also summon familiars like bats to aid him in battle. In an interesting move for the PlayStation, which was focusing on 3D games, Symphony of the Night is presented with 2D visuals, with animated sprites on top of scrolling backgrounds, with 3D effects used to embellish the game world. The game's graphics are well detailed and Alucard moves fluidly, enemies look ghoulish, and the castle itself is suitably gothic, with muted colours that display how old the castle is. The graphics do a great job of capturing the grand atmosphere of the game. Music for Symphony of the Night was composed by Mature Yamain, who previously composed the soundtrack for Castlevania Bloodlines. The soundtrack features several genres from techno, gothic rock, classical and jazz. The eclectic mix really adds to the experience of the game, particularly the use of classical music to capture the mood of the franchise. It is rumoured that the cancelled Castlevania game The Bloodletting eventually became Symphony of the Night. Alongside the cancellation of a proposed Sega 32X release for that game, the development team took what they could from The Bloodletting and worked it into Symphony of the Night. The game's writer Koji Igarashi was responsible for many of the changes introduced in this game, including the 2D design, after seeing many Castlevania games placed in bargain bins across Japan, since traditional Castlevania games offered limited replay value when completed. The game steered the series away from traditional linear level design with the open-ended gameplay, and introduced several RPG elements that are still used in the series today. In Japan, Symphony of the Night was also released for the Sega Saturn. A thing I didn't like about this game was the opening. It starts with the final battle from the previous game, Rondo of Blood, but you're not going to really care about it unless you're a hardcore Castlevania fan. As Symphony of the Night is a direct sequel to Rondo of Blood, you will have had to have played that game in order to place this game in context. Some fans may also feel a bit turned off as you don't officially play as a Belmont, but as a different character entirely. Don't get me wrong, I like Alucard, but it does create a change in series continuity. Upon release, Symphony of the Night was not an instant classic, though was critically praised and gained sales through word of mouth to eventually become a sleeper hit. The game has also been re-released on Xbox Live Arcade, the PlayStation Network, as well as the PSP. With an open-ended world and several gameplay modes, Symphony of the Night has tons of lasting appeal and deserves its reputation as a cult classic, as well as reinventing the franchise. Well, that's the end of another review. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you've seen, please comment, like, share and subscribe, as that would be awesome. Also, be sure to check out my gaming rewind on the Castlevania franchise. You may have also noticed a small difference in presentation. Let me know what you think about it, as I would like to get some feedback, and remember to follow me on Facebook. Until next time, peace out guys.